This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 17th day of August in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The opposition APNU AFC intends to move to the court next week to challenge the decision by the president to extend the tenure of acting police commissioner Clifton Hicken. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton told the media today that the move by the president is unconstitutional, and therefore the opposition will move to the courts to oust Mr. Hicken from the position.
We have already prepared the case, and it will be filed sometime next week. We are challenging the extension of the Commissioner of Police by the president. As we understand the law, if he was a substantive commissioner, then the law would have provided for it. But since he has been part of the drama group and acting for a long time, he is not entitled.
The opposition has long made it clear that it would not support Mr. Hicken's appointment as Commissioner of Police, and even went to the court to challenge his appointment. The Constitution of Guyana mandates the President to hold constructive engagements with the Leader of the Opposition and the Chairman of the Police Service Commission on the appointment of a substantive Commissioner of Police. Mr. Hicken has been acting as the country's top cop since March of 2022 and recently reached the age of retirement, 55 years old. Last week, the president announced his decision to extend the tenure of Mr. Hicken as the acting police commissioner, and that has not found favor with the opposition.
The president is being unfair to the many servicemen and women in the police force. By extending Hicken's tenure is shortchanging the line of succession in terms of people being promoted, and that's a demoralization.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader also added his voice to the scathing report submitted last week by the Police Complaints Authority Chair, Justice William Ramlal, to the National Assembly. In part, Justice Ramlal accused the acting police commissioner of flouting the PCA Act and the laws of Guyana by not having the force submit reports for him to investigate incidents involving police officers. The opposition believes the government and the president must be held accountable and responsible for Mr. Hicken's actions.
And therefore, I think the police force is in crisis because it does not have credible leadership. And it will continue like this. The legal challenge is made. We believe it will succeed. And we hope after that, there is a proper process to have a police commissioner that is both certified and qualified.
Hicken was appointed as acting police commissioner following the retirement of Deputy Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy, who acted in that position. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now. Transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Oh my lord. I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup!
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
Having your own car means peace of mind.
Having your own car means comfort and convenience.
Having your own car means freedom to get there on your own time.
It's Deal on Wheels at Republic Bank. It's time to get that new vehicle or upgrade to a better one with Republic. Super low rates and low down payment. Up to 8 years to repay and great prizes. Come in to Republic Bank today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you. Guyana, the International Building Expo is back. The advances made in the housing, construction, and infrastructure sector is everyone's business. Come down to the Guyana National Stadium from Thursday, August 24th through Sunday, August 27th and get a glimpse of the latest in building techniques. Interact with service providers in the sector and financial institutions. Make it a family affair and bring the kids too. Enjoy free entry during our grand opening night on August 24th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Admission fee applies after 8 p.m. Gates open at 11 a.m. daily from August 25th to 27th. Admission easy. Adults $500 and kids under 12 free.
I love this place. Guyana. Oh no, welcome to Building Expo.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that my crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
Are you looking for the best high school education at affordable fees? Then register your child today at the VYC Academy. Now enrolling grades 7, 8, and 9 students for the 2023-2024 academic year. VYC Academy, achieving academic excellence. For more information, call us on 227-1013 or WhatsApp us at 613-4806.
Strong and solid in countries far and wide. New India Assurance, we're standing by your side. Golden service, half a century and more. New India Assurance, our policies are secure. From the heart of India, we serve these islands. The strength that you can trust, you're safe when you come to
New India Assurance Company. Assurance when you need it most.
For your home, motor, or business insurance, visit New India Guyana office, 58 Brickdam next to Star Computers. Telephone 226-0415-7. Comfortable parking available.
Welcome back. Health Matters to report now. The country's main medical institution, the Georgetown Public Hospital, is facing a worrying shortage of nurses as more nurses and other medical staff continue to leave their jobs at the hospital for opportunities elsewhere. In the first 6 months of the year, almost 100 nurses have resigned from the Georgetown Hospital. That's according to the Director of Medical and Professional Services at the Georgetown Hospital, Dr. Navindranath Rambaran. The hospital, which has over 450 beds, should have at least 1,200 nurses to cater for the needs of those patients. However, the hospital is far below that figure.
Our data shows that we're somewhere between 50 to 60. That's a flux. Like, for example, we were able to secure some nurses right after training a few months ago. So that boosted their amounts, but then just a few days ago, we got a few resignations. So it's in a constant flux.
And painting a grim and troubling picture of the situation, the Director of Medical Services said at times a single nurse is forced to manage 15 patients, while others are asked to work overtime to provide much needed services.
This hospital is at least a 450 bed hospital, and it requires nursing ratios that are certainly higher than we currently have. In the ICU, for example, the ideal ratio of nurses to patient is 1-to-1, and many times we can't reasonably reach that. Of course, in the first world, they also do not have always the luxury of having 1-to-1 ratios in the ICU. Sometimes we are at 1-to-4, 1-to-3, and that's not close to ideal, but that's how realistically it happens. On the open wards, ratios of 1-to-6 and so on are acceptable and things that we can work with. Sometimes because of shortage we are 1-to-10 or even 1 to 15.
And the shortage is as a result of a rapid migration of nurses. Many nurses have been leaving their jobs here in Guyana to take up opportunities in the UK, the US, Canada, and other developed nations.
There has been a general trend of nurses leaving for other regions where obviously the packages seem to be more attractive. And this has happened as a continuous flow where, for example, in the UK and the US, where they are reporting severe shortages of nurses, their system are now in some ways taking up nurses from our regions, and that is now reflecting as a shortage in our system.
And while admitting that the situation is a difficult one to manage, the Director of Medical Services said the Georgetown Hospital is pushing ahead with its efforts to improve the quality of care to others. The hospital is training more patient care assistants and nursing aides to build their capacity to respond to the current needs of the hospital.
We are taking the position of all hands on board. So we have different levels of nursing and affiliate nursing staff. So for example, we have patient assistants and nurse aides and so on. And these are being trained strategically in certain areas that we see that they can offset some of the responsibilities and some of the demand on the fully trained nurses.
Nationally, there is a shortage of more than 1,200 nurses in the public healthcare system. President Irfan Ali recently acknowledged the shortage and said the government is looking to hire nurses from Cuba to cushion the impact. Opposition Member of Parliament Dr. Karen Cummings is warning that the country is heading towards a public health crisis unless the government steps in and increases its fight against the dengue fever, which has seen a spike in the country over the past month and is responsible for several deaths. During an opposition press conference today, Dr. Cummings, who is a medical doctor by profession, said the situation demands that the government provides the statistics about vector-borne illnesses, especially the dengue fever, and urgently try to avert the situation, which is on the border of becoming a crisis.
With approximately 3,453 persons in Guyana contracting the vector-borne illness and 2,169 of the cases remaining active, with the developing events of the recent deaths of the two children, ages 9 and 11, who were treated at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC, intensive care unit. And with the rise of cases of dengue at a steady pace, Guyana seems to be heading towards a public health crisis. It must be further noted that 2 weeks ago, Region 6 recorded in excess of 107 cases of dengue, with 24 cases in 24 hours, according to the Regional Democratic Council, RDC.
Dr. Cummings said recent statements from the Ministry of Health do not inspire confidence in the ability of the ministry to address the fears of citizens, since it appears as though the ministry is attempting to deny the reality of the situation.
It is very unfortunate that an advisor to the Minister of Health had said that 1 or 2 cases a day is not a phenomenal number. But he has failed to recognize that 90 to 95% of persons with dengue may have symptoms and do not feel the need to seek medical care. It is the 5 to 10% of persons who visit the hospital whose conditions will progress to severe dengue manifested by hemorrhage and shock or severe organ involvement.
The opposition MPs urging citizens to play their part and keep their surroundings clean, seek urgent medical care if they feel they have symptoms of the dengue virus, and follow the precautions in order to secure and stem the spread of the disease. According to the World Health Organization, the dengue infection accounts for more than 2.5 million cases globally. The general symptoms include high fever, severe headaches, muscle and joint pains, and rashes, as well as difficulties breathing.
Access to quality education for Guyanese countrywide is becoming a reality with the support of monies from the country's oil and gas sector. Some $94.4 billion was allocated this year to support the further development of the education sector. This covers access to textbooks, transportation to school, and hot meals for thousands of students. 30% of the funds used to propel development such as this in Guyana this year is being provided from the country's oil revenues.
Ultimate event as Mackenzie Alumni Association presents official Night of Elegance. New York edition. It's going down Friday, September 1st at Naomi and Burchell Suites, 8926 Avenue D, Brooklyn, New York, 11236. Ladies, come out looking beautiful. Doors open at 7 p.m. Contribution $100. Dinner start at 8:30 to 10:30. It's the official Night of Elegance.
Guyana, the International Building Expo is back. The advances made in the housing, construction, and infrastructure sector is everyone's business. Come down to the Guyana National Stadium from Thursday, August 24th through Sunday, August 27th and get a glimpse of the latest in building techniques. Interact with service providers in the sector and financial institutions. Make it a family affair and bring the kids too. Enjoy free entry during our grand opening night on August 24th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Admission fee applies after 8 p.m. Gates open at 11 a.m. daily from August 25th to 27th. Admission easy. Adults $500 and kids under 12 free.
I love this place. Guyana. Oh no, welcome to Building Expo.
Having your own car means peace of mind.
Having your own car means comfort and convenience.
Having your own car means freedom to get there on your own time.
It's Deal on Wheels at Republic Bank. It's time to get that new vehicle or upgrade to a better one with Republic. Super low rates and low down payment. Up to 8 years to repay and great prizes. Come in to Republic Bank today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
4 years into oil production, Guyana is receiving an increasing number of proposals for the construction of refineries here. But the Vice President Barrett Jagdeo today said that the country only has capacity for a single refinery.
We don't have the capacity for 2 refineries now. There shall be, if that project goes forward, the 1 refinery.
Last week, the government announced that it has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Dominican Republic for the construction of an oil refinery and petrochemical plant here in Guyana. However, the terms of that agreement have not been made public. The Irfanali administration also indicated that a 30,000 barrel per day oil refinery will be constructed in Region 6. In January, the minister responsible for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, announced that 9 proposals were received by the government for the design, financing, and construction of a local oil refinery at Crab Island in Region 6. Today, the Vice President said the government is still exploring its options.
We still are exploring 1 refinery, but we've had several interests. So we went out for requests for proposal. We have several of those. There was a first round evaluation. We're waiting for more information. But even as we do that, a number of other countries are sending in proposals to us, etc. At the end of the day, if it goes forward, it has to be on conditions that are good for our country. And they have to meet all the financial and technical requirements.
Mr. Jagdeo also said even as the government explores the possibility of establishing a refinery, it is simultaneously considering setting up reserves, similar to the strategic oil reserves in the U.S.
We're exploring what it would take to toll some of our crude and what fee we may have to pay for tolling the crude and then bringing back the refined products and storing them, like in the US they have strategic reserves.
Trinidad and Tobago has long signaled a willingness to refine Guyana's oil, indicating that the country has the capacity to refine about 140,000 barrels of oil per day. But the Vice President today said should there be a refinery, it will be in Guyana and not in any other country.
If we are doing a refinery, it will be here, because it defeats the purpose of your energy security, and you have the refining done in Trinidad. But if you can get a tolling fee, it could be refined anywhere in the world. but you then store the refined products here, then that's a different concept. So one, if you're doing tolling, then it could be done anywhere else, provided it's cost competitive. If you're doing the refinery, it has to be here, because
the government had given itself a deadline of 2025 for the operationalization of a refinery in Guyana. President Irfan Ali has announced changes in permanent secretaries across 8 government ministries. A permanent secretary is the most senior public servant and is mandated to lead the charge in carrying out government policy decisions. A release from the President's office today announced the appointment of 2 new permanent secretaries. Ms. Adele Cole-Clark, who previously served as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education under the previous government, will now be the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Legal Affairs. And Mr. Miguel Sean Kang will now serve as a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. In addition, the President has reassigned 6 permanent secretaries. The President's office announced that May Toussaint Jr. Thomas, who was embroiled in that controversy a few months ago when her phone was seized by U.S. authorities and her visa revoked, while she served as permanent secretary in the Home Affairs Ministry, will now take on a new role as the permanent secretary in the much smaller Ministry of Labor. Long-standing Permanent Secretary Alfred King has been reassigned from the Ministry of Education, and he will now serve as the new Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister. Mr. Shaneli Hussein Uttar will be the new Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, and she is reassigned from her previous post at the Ministry of Human Services. In addition, Prema Rupnaran will replace Uttar as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. The President's office also announced today that Bishram Kupen, who served in the Ministry of Labor, will now take up the position as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Water, while Andre Ali, who was serving as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing, will now serve as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs. 1 week after a bystander was shot dead in West Rhymeville during a dispute over a property, a 34-year-old resident of Soosdyke has been charged and remanded to jail for the murder. The accused, Anthony LaRose, appeared before the acting chief magistrate today and was not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charge. He was charged for the murder of 43-year-old construction worker Dexter Horsham. The construction worker was among several persons standing outside a West Rhymeville yard as a group of men arrived on the scene to evict a young man and his reputed wife from a house that they claimed had been sold. The man told them that he was not going to move from the property since they could not provide any purchase agreement or change of ownership agreement. It was during that exchange that a scuffle started, and one of the men who arrived on the scene to evict the youth pulled out a firearm and fired a number of shots. 2 bystanders were hit and rushed to the hospital. One of them was admitted in a serious condition, while the other bystander, Dexter Horsham, was pronounced dead. The police had initially issued a wanted bulletin for the owner of the vehicle that was used to take the men to the scene. However, it was later uncovered that the owner has been out of the country for the past 2 months, and he made it clear that he played no part in the issue.
Did you know that Gassie's Jet A1 fuel is a type of aviation fuel specially formulated for turbine engines? Jet A1 fuel is safer to handle and transport than any other fuel types due to its high flash point and low volatility. It also boasts a high energy content, enhancing aircraft performance and efficiency. So whether traveling for business or pleasure, choose Gaio's Jet A1 fuel for a safe, reliable, and efficient flight.
Sorry.
Jack?
Hey.
Boys, where you going with all that speed?
Yo, today's the 15th. My NIS contributions are due, and I ain't even get the forms as yet.
Hold on. You mean to tell me that you're not aware that all self-employed persons can now make their NIS contributions using the MMG app from the comforts of their homes and offices?
Really? You know, I just pay my bills using MMG, you know?
Yes, Jack. And the thing's simple. All you have to do is open the app, select Pay Bills, Government Services, NIS, and Pay. They will prompt you to enter your NIS number, the month you're paying for, and the amount.
So I don't need to submit any form?
No. The only time you submit in a form is when you're making a claim.
Wait. I could make a claim too?
Oh, no, man. You didn't know that? Yes. all self-employed persons are entitled to all benefits from NIS. Well, except for the industrial benefits. And here's the good part. All of their forms, you can download them from the NIS website.
Well, girl, I'm really glad I bumped into you.
Anyhow, make sure you pay your bills later.
Later? I gotta sit down right here and pay my contributions first.
Take care.
For further information, please visit the website at www.nis.org.gy, the National Insurance Scheme Facebook page, or your nearest NIS office.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor at the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall. In the region, laboratory experts scattered this week in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, to discuss increasing the use of tools to detect and monitor mosquito-borne diseases in the Americas. The meeting, led by the Pan American Health Organization, comes as some countries in the region face large-scale outbreaks of dengue and intense circulation of chikungunya. The annual meeting of the Arbovirus Diagnosis Laboratory Network of the Americas, of which PAHO is the technical secretariat, concluded today. Members, which are made up of 35 national laboratories from across the region, technical advisors, and WHO collaborating centers, reviewed ways to expand surveillance to major arboviruses. Dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever are among 9 arboviruses with public health impact that are circulating in Latin America and the Caribbean. Arboviruses are transmitted by the bite of arthropods such as mosquitoes and ticks. The Andrew Holness-led government has declined to indicate whether cabinet ministers are among 6 legislators being investigated by the Integrity Commission for Illicit Enrichment, noting that a policy decision has been taken not to comment. However, Information Minister Robert Morgan, when contacted by the Gleaner Wednesday morning, could not give a definite date on when the policy came into effect. Morgan had an hour before told journalists at a post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House that it was government policy not to comment after 5 ministers present were asked if they had been contacted by the Integrity Commission about the investigation. And finally tonight, international news. More than 60 people are feared dead after a boat carrying migrants was found off Cape Verde in West Africa. 38 people, including children, were rescued, with footage showing them being helped ashore, some on stretchers, on the island of Sal. Almost all those on board the boat, which was at sea for over a month, are thought to have been from Senegal. Cape Verde officials have called for global action and migration to help prevent further loss of life. The vessel was first spotted on Monday police told AFP News agency. Initial reports suggested that the boat had sunk, but it was later clarified that it had been found drifting. The wooden boat was seen almost 320 kilometers or 200 miles off Sal, a part of Cape Verde, by a Spanish fishing boat, which then alerted authorities, the police said. The survivors include 4 children aged 12 and 16. A spokesperson for the International Organization for Migration said the boat left Fast Boy on July 10 with 101 people on board, Senegal's foreign minister said on Tuesday, citing survivors.
And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.